Okay, here are 4 questions as a pretty good review of all the different things from 5.1. The first question says, tell me 6 things about this expression, 4xy minus 2x squared plus 5. So the first thing you could say is, let's just say it's a trinomial because it has 3 terms. It has a constant, meaning the term in the trinomial that does not have a variable, a constant of positive 5. You could also say the first term has a coefficient of 4, and the second term has a coefficient of negative 2. You could say that the first term has a degree of 2 because to measure the degree of the term, you take the exponents that are attached to all of the variables within that term and add them together. And therefore, the second term, negative 2x squared, also has a degree of 2 as well because it has this. You could say the polynomial, or the trinomial, has a degree. The entire trinomial has a degree as well. And that degree is defined by the term within that trinomial that has the highest degree. So since 2 of them have 2, the entire polynomial will have a degree of 2. And I think that's about all of the different things you can say about that. Anything else I'm missing? It's an expression. Well, that's kind of a dumb thing to say since the question says, tell me 6 things you can tell me about this expression. And I guess so. Your second question gives you this picture and says, write this as a trinomial in descending degree of terms. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, what is this first part I see? And that is a positive 3x or 3x. I'm not going to put a positive symbol. I'll leave it like that. The second thing I see is these 2 things, and those are, you have 2x squareds. And right here, you have negative 4. So the important part to realize is this is a positive 2x squared, and this is a positive 3x squared, and that's a negative 4. And when I reorder this in descending degree of terms, this term here is my highest degree term. The plus 3x, or the positive 3x, is my second highest, and my minus 4 is my third highest. So the only thing I would erase here is I don't need the positive 2x squared. It's positive without that. And we see here that that 3x that we wrote here actually interprets itself as a positive 3x or a plus 3x. Both are the same thing when I write out that trinomial. So your answer to this question is 2x squared plus 3x and minus 4. So your next question is this picture, and you're asked to actually write it out as an algebraic expression. These are negative x squareds. And someone asked me, how do I write 2 of them? Because there's not 1 of them. So somebody tried to do this. Sorry. Somebody wrote this. And actually, this is part of section 5.2. When you add them together, what do you get? But what we're going to define that as is there's 2 of them. There's 2 negative x squareds, which we're going to write as being negative 2x squareds, right? There's not 2x squareds, there's negative 2x squareds, or whatever the value of x squared is. There's the opposite of 2 of them. And then there's an x tile here. Remember, that's a positive x, which means we're going to put a plus x. And a minus 3 is our constant. So you end up with negative 2x squared plus an x minus 3. Your last question says 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 and draw it. So my x squared tiles are my big x squared. And remember, the reason why it's an x squared tile is its length is x and its width is x. So the area of that tile would be x squared. So since I have 2 of them, I'm going to draw 2 large x squared tiles. A negative 3x is just your skinny, unshaded in x tiles. Each one of these has a value of negative x, or the opposite of x. Since this is a 1 and this is an x, If it was shaded in, it would have an area of x, but since it's not shaded in, it's the opposite of whatever the value of the positive x would be. And a positive 1 is a tiny little red algebra tile or shaded in algebra tile. So our answer for that would be 2x squared minus 3x plus 1.